Hey guys, Hanor here. In my last episode of Basic Flight Maneuvers, I've talked about several things, but it's pretty much basic stuff and I didn't require anything else, to really teach you guys. Now, before we move into these next set of maneuvers though, there's going to be a couple concepts that you guys got to understand. And to demonstrate this, we're going to bring out the maneuvering egg. Now, the maneuvering egg, boom, there it is. Alright, egg-shaped, alright? Whenever you perform maneuvers, you pretty much, on any planes, when you're crossing planes, it's going to make kind of this egg shape. Now, if you do a loop, for instance, on the vertical plane, at the top, you're going to be turning a lot tighter than you are at the bottom, making it egg-shaped. And the reason this is because of your speed. As you slow down, you will be tightening up on your turn. And as you dive back down, you'll be picking up speed, which will be causing your turn to become looser. Alright, same thing with these horizontal turns. Horizontal turns, they're happening in the middle there. As you reach the horizon and go up in a pitch, you're going to be tightening your turn there. And as you slice below the horizon, that's the proper term for it in aviation, slicing, you will be, increasing your turn time. So it's going to make that egg shape, so if you can tilt it there in your head with these lines, and you notice on the lines they're a little bit, they're pointier and looser at those ends. It just doesn't, it's kind of hard to see. You got to imagine it in 3D. Alright, so if you take that and you add it to how you play your game, in your gameplay, this can actually help a lot of things, and the maneuvers that are to come. The other thing that we got to talk about is pursuit paths. And the reason being is that pursuit paths, you have three of them. You have lead, pure, and lag. Lead pursuit is where your body of your airplane is pointed ahead of their body. You're trying to close, generally, get closer to them. Pure is whenever you're close on them, you're trying to gun them down. And lag is whenever you're trying to actually get some separation from them because you're too close and you're going to end up having an overshoot or something. So you generally pull lag pursuit at those times. Now you gotta keep your maneuvers in mind based on pursuit paths and the egg and so forth. Now, so I know that's a lot. You might have to re-watch this video, but anyways, moving on. The first maneuver that we're going to be covering is going to be the brake turn, and this is one of the most failed maneuvers in War Thunder. And the reason why I say this is because so many people just try to do a really hard turn. They don't do anything to turn at their best, because we turn at our best at a slower speed. And when we turn, we are bleeding speed. So no matter what, if we're not slow enough and turning at our tightest turn, we're not going to cause an overshoot. And that's kind of the purpose of a brake turn, and anyways, to cause an overshoot. Now, when you're a defender, and this is one of the most opportune times that you're going to be pulling a brake turn, though it can be done as well on the offensive, you are going to turn, cut your throttle, and the opponent will shoot by. If they have higher amounts of energy, they're going to perform an overshoot, as you just saw right there. Now, that is the key to this. You need to cut your throttle so that you burn more of your speed off in your turn if you're doing a brake turn. Now, another way you can use it offensively. Now, right now I'm in a P400. And right there, my opponent is a Typhoon. Typhoons have a higher top speed, but this aircraft is a lot more agile. It can turn better than him by default. So I decided I'm not going to go into head-on because he's probably got a lot more firepower. So I'm going to start slowing down because I want my speed to be slow, so that whenever I perform my brake turns, to either evade him or to attack him. And he overshoots, so I decide to brake turn right here, and I pitch up a little bit as well. I keep my throttle high, but I'm going to cut my throttle now so I don't gain any more speed while I'm coming down. And I come in behind him and engage. My speed was actually at a low enough point to where I was able to perform a brake turn right there. to use it for the attack. And we finish him up here. Now, just to be clear, you know, basically, all in a nutshell, break turn, you want to make them overshoot you when you do perform it. So, you have to make yourself turn tight enough for them to overshoot. So let's go into a little more detail about overshooting. An overshoot is where the attacker, as he approaches the enemy aircraft, or is already right there on pure pursuit of the enemy aircraft, but he cannot maintain pure pursuit or even lead, and is forced into a lag which causes him to overshoot and pass the defending aircraft. That is an overshoot. Alright, moving back from the overshoot, now we're going to talk about displacement roles. And the two displacement roles that we're going to really focus on is going to be the barrel roll attack and the lag displacement roll. Now, the barrel roll attack is different than a lag displacement roll, but not too much. Normally, a barrel roll attack is whenever both aircraft have generally around the same amount of energy. And we'll talk more about energy later. But anyways, they have about the same amount. They're pretty close to the same. The attacker might have a little more, but the defender ends up going into a path that's going to be perpendicular to his aircraft. So, for instance, a brake turn. He turns really tight, turns hard right, hard left, you know, or is just traveling that way whenever they come across one another. And you know that you can't keep up with that maneuver, that you will overshoot, and instead of overshooting, you perform a barrel roll attack, which will be a barrel roll away from the airplane. And when you come out of this barrel roll, you will be behind the target. Now your path right there on the end leg of that barrel roll should have been on the inside of their path. Alright? Now we're showing a lag displacement roll. Lag displacement roll is normally done because you have more energy than the defender, or they're in a position where they're coming at an angle where they'll be able to out-turn you so much that you will just not be able to keep up with it. And so what you want to do is you want to put yourself from this lead position to a lag position. So you roll and you come in on the outside, but you generally roll up to help slow you down, and you get on the outside, then come out of it and engage. Next we're going to talk about boom zooming. Boom zooming, there's many actually methods to boom zooming, but they all involve having altitude over your opponent. It's kind of like a hawk diving on its prey. One of the ways to do is to dive down, get behind your opponent, and then engage, and then zoom out. Get back to altitude. The other way to do is a high side gun pass, which is where you're diving pretty steeply towards your opponent, and you strike it on the dive, or close to the end of your dive, and then zoom back up. But you can also have modifications of this to where you zoom out ahead of your opponent, depending if they did certain maneuvers that, you know, such as pulling up, which is doing a high yo-yo defense, but we'll talk about that later. One of the things that you need to know though, if you are going to zoom back up from your boom zoom, you need to zoom all the way up to almost stall points. And the reason why, if nobody's above of course, the reason why you want to do this is because you want to keep your energy level high. If you turn back down after you've already, or before you ran out of speed, or enough of your speed, you are going to basically throw all that energy away. You will not be able to zoom as high on the next pass, which means you lost a lot of your energy, and sooner or later you're going to dwindle out and be caught low. These are things that all need to be kept in mind when it comes to boom zooms. One of the main reasons you might not come back and zoom climb back up whenever this is if there's enemies that you'd spotted above after passing your target. And so instead of doing your climb up, you might choose to run it. Hey guys, Hanor here. Sorry for the interruption, but this video is getting so massive that I decided to split it in two at this point. And so I'm going to be releasing a third episode with this combined information. Actually, I'm going to have more episodes of this coming as well. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if so, give me a thumbs up and subscribe for future content to come. Alright, thanks guys. And cover and I have the APHEBC, and watch this. Watch the barrel on this Yak Tiger. There it goes.